Hello, good morning, all the viewers. Welcome to the satellite-based interactive program that is called Active Learning Video Lecture Communication Series. This program has been started by GTU with the technical aid from BISEC. I am Mr. Paresh Moda, working as an assistant professor in A.D. Patel Institute of Technology, New Malla Vidyanagar. In today's session, we will see the December 2011 paper that was Elements of Electrical Engineering subject. So many a time students are not confused that what they have to write in the exam, right? So in today's class, we will see how to write down the questions and how to attempt the answers, right? So we will start with one by one question and we will see how to write the answers of each question, right? So let us begin with the question number 1A. If you see, I advise to the viewers that please download the December 2011 paper from the GTU website and then you can start. So the question paper title is Elements of Electrical Engineering subject and it is 22 December 2011. So if you see the paper, then it is mentioned that attempt any 5 questions. So there are 7 questions. Out of this, as per the new paper style, you have to attempt only 5 questions. So this is the paper of GTU. So you can see that there are 7 questions are written, and on the right hand side it is indicated full marks. So let us begin with question number 1A. So question number 1A is state that explain the Kirchhoff laws. So the Kirchhoff law states that the current flowing into the node or junction is equal to the sum of current flowing out of that node. So in this diagram, that is here you can see that there are 2 currents that are meeting or coming into the junction, and there are 2 currents that are going outside to the junction. So we can write that I1 plus I2 is equal to I3 plus I4, where I1 and I2 are my incoming current, and we can say that I3 and I4 are my outgoing current. So this Kirchhoff current law is used to find out the current, how much current is to be flowing at a junction or at a node. It states that the algebraic sum of the branch current at a node is 0 at every instant of time. In some of the book, it is mentioned that the sum of the branch current entering a node at a given instant of time is equal to the sum of current leaving the node at that instant of time. So in simple word, we can say that the incoming current is equal to the outgoing current at a particular junction or at a particular node. Now let us see what is Kirchhoff voltage law. Kirchhoff voltage law can be used for a particular branch or particular loop, a particular mesh. It is also called a mesh analysis sometimes for the numerical. So the Kirchhoff voltage law states that the sum of EMF in any closed loop is equivalent to the sum of potential drop in the loop. Let us understand. For example, here I am having a battery and I am connecting R1, R2, R3. There are 3 different resistors. Now as you know that if I want to measure the voltage across R1, then what I need to do? I need to simply connect a voltmeter in parallel with the R1. Same way for R2 and R3. So I can say that V1 is nothing but it is a voltage drop across resistance R1. Same way V2 is nothing but it is a voltage drop across R2, right? So if I want to find out V1, then what is V1? As per the Ohm's law, V1 I can write down that is I1 into R1. So I can say that the voltage drop is directly proportional to the current and the resistance value. But if you do the addition of V1, V2, V3, or let's say V4 is also there, so the algebraic sum of all the voltage drop is equal to the supply voltage. That is the second law of Kirchhoff, or it can say that the Kirchhoff voltage law. It is sometimes also mentioned Kirchhoff voltage law. Let us understand the Kirchhoff voltage law in detail. The algebraic sum of the product of current and the resistance of various branch of a closed mesh. The closed mesh word is very much important. This law can be applied in the closed circuit only. It cannot apply on the open circuit. So in the closed mesh, the algebraic sum of all the EMF in the closed mesh is equal to 0. So let us see again that the sum of the voltage across the resistors is equal to but in opposite polarity. So I can write down that E1 plus E2 plus E3 is equal to E. So now the question may be arise in your mind that how to determine the voltage sign. So here you can see there are 4 images. First image shows that there is a rise in voltage. So you can write down that the sign of battery EMF will be plus. If the battery sign is from positive to negative, then you can say that there is a fall in voltage. So you can take minus E. Same way for the current. If the current is going from one node to another node, then there is a fall in voltage. So you can write minus sign. So it is important to note that the sign of battery EMF is independent of the direction of the current throughout the branch, right? So there is a diagram you can see later on, or you can refer it from the book. Let us begin the second question. Question 1b. It is stated that explain the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction is very much important for understanding of the electromagnetic induction, right? So we will see what is the law and how an EMF is induced in a conductor. So Faraday's laws, first law says that whenever the magnetic flux link with the circuit and it is changing, an EMF is always induced in the conductor. Or it can say that whenever a conductor cuts across the magnetic line of flux, an EMF is always induced in it. Second law states that the magnitude of induced EMF in a coil is equal to the rate of change of flux linkage. So Faraday's law is mainly deal with how the EMF is to be induced and what is the rate of change of flux linkage. If the rate of change of flux linkage is to be changed, then the EMF induced in a coil will also get changed. This law is very much important for the understanding of the generator and the motor principle. So let us see what Faraday has observed in the 1831. There are two observations made by the Faraday. First observation was the amount of voltage induced in a coil is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic field with respect to coil. We will see this statement or observation with a animation so that you can understand it more. The second is that the amount of voltage or EMF induced in a coil is directly proportional to the number of turns of wire in the coil. So let us see its animation. In this animations, what you can see, there are two demonstration are shown. In the first demonstration, I am putting one voltmeter with one coil. Now what I am doing, when I am putting this magnet inside the coil and I am putting it outside, there will be some voltage that will be produced in the voltmeter. So this voltmeter, when produce the voltage, you can say that there is a EMF induced in the conductor. The EMF is produced in the coil, right? So demonstration of Faraday observation says that the amount of induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic field with respect to coil. What is the meaning? If you are changing the magnetic field, that is if you are putting a large magnet, then the EMF that is to be produced in the coil will be more. Let us understand second observation. What you can see in this two diagram? You can see that in the first diagram, the coil is having less turn, while in the second you can see that there are so many turns wound on the coil. So what is the difference between these two? You can see that the voltage to be produced or the EMF that is induced in the first case and in the second case. In the second case, the EMF that is induced is more. So a demonstration of Faraday's second law says that the amount of induced voltage is directly proportional to the turns of the coil. If you are increasing the number of turns in the coil, the EMF that is produced with the same setup will be more. So Faraday's laws, we can say that the voltage induced across a coil of wire is equal to the number of coil in the coil and the time of rate of change of magnetic flux, right? So if you are changing the rate of change of magnetic flux, then also the EMF is to be induced more. Or if you are increasing the other parameter, what is the other parameter? Other parameter is the number of turns in the coil. If you are changing, then also the EMF that is to be induced will be also more, right? Now let us begin with the third question. What is the third question? Third question was a numerical. In that numerical, it was said that with the help of star delta transformation or with the another transformation, you have to say that what are the resistance that is the equivalent resistance between the two terminal in a square is how much. So in the data it is mentioned that a square and its diagonals are made up of a uniform covered wire. The resistance of each side, see this wire material is having some resistance, is 1 ohm and that of diagonal is 1.414 ohm. You have to determine that what is the resistance between the two opposite corner of the square. See in this example you can see that there is no circuit is given. With the description only, this is the description of question 1C, and with this description you have to find out that what will be the resistance between the two opposite corner in a square. So from this square you can draw a square of a circuit. So the square of a circuit will look like this: A, B, C and D. Now as per the description it is mentioned that each square is having 1 ohm resistance value. So you can draw this 1 ohm resistance in the circuit. So right now only 4 resistors are to be connected, but it is also mentioned that at the diagonal, so which are the diagonal? AC and BD. So AC diagonal resistance is 1.41 ohm and BD diagonal is also 1.41 ohm. See, I can also draw this 1.41 ohm in this circuit itself also, but for the understanding purpose I am connecting this resistance outside of the circuit. Okay, now we will see how to solve this circuit. So applying the delta to star transformation in the circuit, you are having this delta over here. Actually you are having two delta, but for the understanding I will take triangle A, B and C as my first delta. Now I have to convert this A, B, C delta into the star. So how I will convert? I know the star delta transformation, that if I want to find out equivalent RA, then what is equivalent RA? RA is equal to 1.41 into 1 divided by the total. So the total resistance is 1.414 plus 1 plus 1. So it will be 0.414. Same way for the second case. There is a second resistance, you can say that it is a R2. So in the second case again you are having the same resistors that are connected. So first resistor is 1.414 into 1 divided by 1.414 plus 1 plus 1. So it will be 0.4141. Same way for this R3. R3 will be again having the same value, that is 1 into 1 divided by 1 plus 414 plus 1 plus 1. So it will be 0.299. So you are having the three value R1, R2 and R3. So implementing this in your circuit will look like this. So putting now the value, you will get the equivalent resistance. So now if you want to find out the resistance between two opposite corner of the square, So you can say that it is 0.7071 plus 1.8281. So by again simplifying the circuit, your circuit will look like this, and the resistance, you can see that in between B and D terminal there are only two resistors. One resistor is 0.7071 and another resistor is 0.8281. So by doing the addition of these two resistors, you are having the equivalent resistance RBD is equal to 3.2322 ohm. So this one is the final answer, that in between the two resistors or the two terminals B and D, you will get RBD, that is the resistance between B and D terminal, is 3.2322 ohm. So if you observe the circuit again, you can see that as per the diagram, your resistance between this B and D terminal, even though you can see that it is 1.41, but if you see or if you solve this circuit, then the equivalent resistance that is to be get is 3.2322 ohm. So this one is your final answer. Now question number 2A is having weightage of 3 marks. It states that you have to define 3 terms. First one is electric field intensity, second one is electrical potential, and third one is electric flux density. So all these terms are very much basic term of the electrical engineering. So first of all, we will decide, or we will define what is electric field intensity. Electric field intensity is defined as the mechanical force experienced by a unit positive charge, let's say charge of 1 coulomb, when it is placed at any point in the electrical field. The strength electric field intensity strength is denoted by E, and the unit is Newton per coulomb. So it is also defined that E is nothing but it is a force per charge.